What's up, everybody? I want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting Anchor on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download Anchor, the app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. And you know I'm a veteran, so let's hear some more military cadences. What's up, family? Time for another round of Monday Night Hot Topics. Let's get right into it. The Bears and the Patriots played today, and the score was 33-14. So they did start a new quarterback today. Did not help out very much, but you know, what can you do? Mac Jones is a quarterback. They have Mac Jones and Bailey Zapp. Neither one could spark New England's surprising loss. So there's that. The fans still stay, loyal to them per se. But yeah, that is that. They brought back Surreal Life. And you don't know if you remember that show with Dennis Rodman and all them. Let's play a clip here. See what they got going on.
We are going to be doing yoga on a horse. Oh my God. Your horse is your partner. Listen to him. Breathe with him. Feel how he is.
I mean, look, horses are dangerous. Yoga is really hard in general, let alone on a horse that could literally just buck you off. And I mean, you can break your neck and literally die.
Do you have experience riding horses?
No, I really don't. I wish I haven't, though.
I want the coolest, slowest horse you got.
And how do I get on him?
Oh, my word.
I need her on Versace.
Anything Versace, I'm here for it.
I kind of looked around and I was like, well, all of my fellow roommates are being a part of this experience.
All right.
I came here to be a part of this experience. I'm not going to let fear stop me.
What do we got? Okay.
Oh, tengo un poco de miedo.
Are you hiding back there?
I am petrified, and I'm so proud of Tamar, but, the horse was looking at me like...
So guys, this cast have Stormy Daniels. They got Tamar Braxton, Kim Whitley, some very random, and Dennis Rodman. There's some very random people on the show, which is, I probably won't watch it at all. But if you're interested or used to watch Surreal Life, it is back on. So there is that. So Ted Cruz was on The View today, and he was interrupted by a climate protester. So let's play a clip of that, see what went down.
Cover climate now! Cover climate now! ABC needs to cover climate change more instead of platforming a climate denier like Ted Cruz. ABC spent less than 6 hours last year covering climate change, and now they're platforming someone like Ted Cruz, whose climate denial is resulting in climate policies. Cover climate now! Cover climate now! ABC needs to cover climate change more, and we do cover climate change. And give me cover climate now! Cover climate now!
Let us do our job. Let us do our job.
So there's that. Don't know how those people snuck in there. Also today, so Merrick Garland, who's over the DOJ, he made an announcement today. A lot of people thought it was going to be about Trump, but it actually ended up being about Breonna Taylor. Let's get into this.
Announced today allege that members of the Place-Based Investigations Unit falsified the affidavit used to obtain the search warrant of Ms. Taylor's home, that this act violated federal civil rights laws, and that those violations resulted in Ms. Taylor's death. Specifically, we allege that Ms. Taylor's Fourth Amendment rights were violated when defendants Joshua Janes, Kyle Meany, and Kelly Goodlatte sought a warrant to search Ms. Taylor's home knowing that the officers lacked probable cause for the search. Among other things, the affidavit falsely claimed that officers had verified that the target of the alleged drug trafficking operation had received packages at Ms. Taylor's address. In fact, defendants Janes and Goodlatte knew that was not true. The charges announced today also allege that the officers responsible for falsifying the affidavit that led to the search took steps to cover up their unlawful conduct after Ms. Taylor was killed. We allege that defendants Janes and Goodlatte conspired to knowingly falsify an investigative document that was created after Ms. Taylor's death. We also allege that they conspired to mislead federal, state, and local authorities who were investigating the incident.
So that wasn't the only thing that came out in his report either. Let's see. He also talked about some China agents that we have over here, double agents. They also said they won't allow voter intimidation, and yeah. So I don't know what this all means and what they're going to start doing. I know definitely for the Breonna Taylor thing, they're going to continue to go in. Of course, they had an interview with Mary Trump today, which you can always, I'm not going to play her because no thanks. All right, let's see what he says about the Chinese spies.
To obtain secret documents in what U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland on Monday said was one of 3 different schemes by Beijing meddling in U.S. affairs or targeting U.S. residents.
The Justice Department will not tolerate attempts by any foreign power to undermine the rule of law upon which our democracy is based. We will continue to fiercely protect the rights guaranteed to everyone in our country, and we will defend the integrity of our institutions.
Prosecutors charged Chinese nationals Guo Chanyi and Zhen Wang with paying bribes to a U.S. agent they believed would provide them with intelligence related to the prosecution of a Chinese telecommunications company. To do that, it alleges they tried to recruit someone from a U.S. law enforcement agency who they thought would help them spy for China. But the recruit was working as a double agent for the United States under FBI supervision. While court documents did not name the company, a person familiar with the investigation said they were trying to interfere with the prosecution of Huawei. Huawei was indicted in 2018 for allegedly misleading HSBC and other banks about its business in Iran, which is subject to U.S. sanctions. In 2020, other charges were added to the case, including conspiring to steal trade secrets from 6 U.S. tech companies and helping Iran track protesters during anti-government demonstrations in 2009. The firm has pleaded not guilty. A spokesperson for Huawei could not be reached for comment on Monday. China's embassy did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Federal prosecutors announced charges in 2 other alleged schemes, including an effort to intimidate and harass a Chinese national into returning to China.
As these cases demonstrate, the government of China sought to interfere with the rights and freedoms of individuals in the United States and to undermine our judicial system that protects those rights. They did not succeed.
So there's that. They're on the case. Always continually on the case. So, you know, we probably have a lot of spies in this country, let's be clear. But that is what they have uncovered so far. Let's see what else that is worth talking about, guys. Leslie Jordan passed away at 67. He passed away in a car accident. And Leslie was just such a little bundle of joy. I know that during the pandemic, He made a lot of people happy by joining TikTok and dancing and singing songs. And yeah, that really sucks. He was a funny man. I liked him a lot. I think I can't name one person that didn't like Leslie Jordan, but he was just so funny. Let's play one of his clips.
My separate knife is backdraft.
He was he was so funny, and he brung a lot of joy to people. Let's play one more clip.
Yeah, and I really need to sincerely apologize, not only for diverting the topic.
Well, one moment that was for some housewives, and we don't really care about that right now. So let's get off of that. Let's see what else is happening in this world we live in. Let's get into some gossip because I've had enough heavy world news today. Barack Obama came on Peyton Manning's podcast. Let's see what they say on that. If it ever comes up. Have you guys ever listened to Eli and Peyton? They're actually really funny. And if you watch Monday Night Football, you will see those two on there chopping it up. I think it's the perfect job for them. It's like Peyton had to get neck surgery. Eli had to get his surgeries, but they kind of both got out of the league unscathed, and now they're just getting paid to talk football. Like, that should be everybody's dream, right? All right, let's get into this.
United States, Barack Obama, we are honored and thrilled to have you. Mr. President, Eli was approached by TMZ last year. They asked him, who is your dream guest on the show? And he said it was you. I assume you were watching TMZ and felt pressure to come on the show, right?
I have to confess, TMZ is not on my remote, really, but I was flattered when I heard about this, Eli. Thank you very much. The main reason I'm on, though, I think, is actually Cooper. He called me up, and after seeing him on those Caesars ads, I thought, how could I turn him down?
So, yep, that was the former president hanging out with Eli. Tycoon Rainer Scholar is missing in a plane crash. That was the guy. I reported on him yesterday. He's like, he has a business. What else is going on here? There was a school shooting in St. Louis, 6 people. This is a story that's been going around. 2 men arrived at a Georgia school to pick up their daughter and realized it's the same girl. So they had to call the mom, and the guys had got into a whole thing. NFL's Lance Kendricks was arrested for allegedly being passed out behind the wheel. So he was really messed up. What else is going on that we would even care to talk about? I guess we'll get a little world news. Why not? Why not get world news? Let's see here. DeSantis and Charlie Crist have their debate tonight. CNN polls, which, these polls, I never trust these polls, but these are the polls, shows Democrats are ahead in races for governor in Michigan and Pennsylvania with no clear leader in Wisconsin. CNN polls on key Senate races find tight contest Wisconsin and narrow Democratic edge in Pennsylvania. Let's see what else. Side effects from the C vaccination linked to greater antibody response, study shows. 5 tourists trapped about 200 feet underground at Arizona's Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is huge, and some conspiracists say it leads to Africa. That's what they say. You know, if you ever get one of them conspiracy theorist maps, they'll tell you that Egypt is here and all kind of stuff. Liberal Democrats are calling on Biden to shift Ukraine strategy. Which, good luck with that. It's kind of a really big mess. A lot of people were upset because Clarence Thomas hit an order for Lindsey Graham to testify before the grand jury for that 2020 election. So a lot of people think he had overreach because he is on the Supreme Court and he did a favor for his bud. So, yeah. I think that is all I'm going to report on today. There's always millions of things. Stay safe. That respiratory virus is going around like crazy. Other than that, let's get into some story time.
My 26 years of living on God's green earth, have I ever felt so disrespected, humiliated, and disgusted by a situation? So please bear with me as I recount the details of this very traumatic event. So this wasn't his girlfriend. This was a completely random woman. He had gotten to the bar before I had.
Hey y'all, have you ever been off this date with a man and you're sitting at the bar and he tries to hold your hand, so you let him hold your hand because he hasn't given you a reason to not let him hold your hand? And after a while, you're sitting there and drinking and holding his hand, and you realize that he hasn't taken a sip of his drink in a while, and you're thinking, oh, maybe it's because he is holding my hand, he can't grab his drink. And then you're like, oh wait, he has another hand. So you start looking for this hand because you haven't seen it in a while, and realize that it is in a place like the private parts of the woman that is sitting next to him at the bar. And not only is it just resting there, but it's maybe, moving about in that area. And you go into shock and let go of his hand, and you are sitting there, and he decides it's a good time for him to get up and go to the bathroom. And then this woman also coincidentally decides that it's a good time for her to go to the bathroom. So they go into the bathroom, and you watch them enter the bathroom together. And then you decide that it is a good time for you to call an Uber. So you call an Uber and you go wait for it outside. And while you're waiting for the Uber outside, he comes out and he has red lipstick all over his face. And he starts apologizing profusely, and you don't want to hear any of it. So you go home, and then he follows you home and shows up at your front door and starts crying.
That is weird. Let's go to part 2.
So never in my 26 years of living on God's green earth have I ever felt so disrespected, humiliated, and disgusted by a situation. So please bear with me as I recount the details of this very traumatic event. So this wasn't his girlfriend. This was a completely random woman. He had gotten to the bar before I had. And so when I walked in, I saw that he was talking to these two women. They said hello to me. I said hi back, and I sat down. While I was physically sitting next to him, he didn't speak to them at all. There were a few times when I caught him glancing in their direction, and there was a point where I went to the bathroom, and when I came back, he was talking to her, but he stopped as soon as I sat down, so I didn't think that much of it. Anyways, like I said, when I finally noticed what was happening, I immediately withdrew my hand and then sat there in silence for 2 minutes or so. I got up and went to the bathroom and called my friend, and they told me that I needed to leave, and I was like, you're right. As I was leaving the bathroom, the woman walks past me towards the bathroom and gives me this really sinister, awful smile. I sit down, and the guy that I'm on a date with gets up and walks towards the bathroom, which is when I saw them entering the bathroom together. I immediately exit the bar, call my Uber, I'm waiting outside for it, and telling the bouncer what had happened. So he runs inside to make sure that no one's doing anything bad in the bathroom, and when he comes out, he tells me that they were doing drugs and hooking up. This man then emerges with red lipstick all over his face, and immediately is just like tears in his eyes, starts apologizing to me, and I just don't respond to him and tell him to leave me alone. He does this a few times where he goes back in and then comes back out, and at the end I eventually was like, if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to hit you. And then he's like, please hit me. You can hit me right here. Please just hit me. I dare you, do it. And I just looked at the bouncer, and he's like, if you don't leave her alone, I'm going to ask you to leave. I get in the car, I go home, and when I get home, he starts calling me, like, repeatedly. When I answer, he immediately starts telling me that he's sorry and that he cares about me so much, and I probably don't care about him, and he's an awful person, and also that he's an alcoholic and a drug addict, and that he needs to talk to me in person. He then switches up and says he's not sorry for anything that he did, and so I hang up. He proceeds to show up at my front doorstep. I go outside to tell him to leave, and he sits down on the ground and takes off his shoes and starts sighing heavily, crying again, telling me that he's really sorry and that he's an awful person. Telling me that the woman was grabbing him and that he grabbed her back and they were flirting before I got there. I told him to basically go away, never to contact me again, not to call, not to show up to my house again. and start walking back into my house, and he starts following me. I then immediately run inside and slam the door and lock it, and then he slams like the screen door behind me. One of the worst things about this is that this guy has fully mastered being able to portray himself as a sensitive musician that has progressive values and has made an entire living and built an entire following on TikTok off of it.
I'm trying to figure out how he knew where she lived, because I could have swore she said she went on a date with him, but I don't know how they got to the point where she knew where they lived, but weird. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, so another dating chronicles and why I'm still single. So I got ready, so I'm talking to this guy from Tinder, of course, because I'm an idiot, and we're talking nonstop, and we FaceTime. We were on the phone for 5 fucking hours that night, and he decided to, he lives in a different city. He lives in Hemet, and I live in San Diego. I tell him, oh, come down on Saturday so we can, hang out or whatever, and he does, and I get ready, and he knows I'm not a skinny girl. I've never said I am, and he goes to the restroom at, a Chevrolet, or no, what is it called, Chevron, and as he comes back into the car, he tells me, I don't think we're gonna have a good time. And I thought he was kidding, and I'm like, huh? He's like, I'm taking you back home, you're not my type. Oh my God, the freaking way my stomach felt right then and there. I was like, all right. He's like, yeah, sorry, no need to waste anybody's time. I appreciate that, but damn, it's because he was trying to figure out what to do. And I told him this when we were talking 5 hours. I don't drink alcohol. I can, but I don't like it. And he eats once a day. I'm sorry, I didn't eat because I worked today. I haven't eaten since breakfast, and it's 8 p.m. right now. And I'm sure it's because I'm overweight that he didn't want to go, continue the date or whatever. And I'm just wow, it was so fucking awkward. And then he was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like, you're good. What am I gonna do? Fucking break down and cry right there? Immediately unmatched, immediately blocked him. I cannot wait until I do what my plans in the future are, and for me to come back looking different and better, and for me to be the one that tells guys, you're not my type, all because of how I look, and because of my weight. Fucking A, man. Oh, I hate dating.
First of all, she's not even a bad looking woman, but I could be biased, but she's not actually. Second of all, this is why I don't let people pick me up. I take my own car. Lastly, people are okay to say that they are not attracted to you when they see you in person. I get it. I mean, that's the game you play when you date. Her losing weight to come back and do that is not going to do anything for her ego. Unfortunately, you got to take dating on the chin. Not everybody's type, That's why you kind of just date and see how. I mean, I know it's shark waters out there, but you can't let somebody break your heart that you hardly only known for 5 hours. I get it, but no, she needs some more self-love, because if she's that broken up about an a-hole that didn't like her for her weight, that's not the guy for her anyway. So this is my 2 cents. Let's go to the next one.
He was like, I have 200. I said, yeah. He said, but if you come home with me, I have more. I'll give you more. And you don't have to get naked. You don't have to take off your clothes. I just want you to dance for me. And I'm like, is he serious? Because I'm thinking about it. I'm like, well, shit, I might. But then at the same sense, I was like, bitch, you're going to wind up on first 48. You're going to be dead. This man done killed you. But it was another girl in there that kind of knew him. Another dancer. So I was like, well, maybe that might be a good sign that he might be a good person.
These were stripper chronicles. And she was dancing for someone that could possibly, once again, a dangerous profession, but fast money. Next one.
Y'all need to look at this. This is a mess.
As a woman, you will get disrespected to your face because his financial status says I can. So my thing is, if you coming home to me at night and only me, baby, I'll take you broke.
Shit.
I'll take you broke. Because I've been broke in by millionaires.
Black women, I'm gonna need you to go heal. So what? You got your heart broken by a man that has some money. So now you go get a broke man? What is this obsession? And then did y'all hear the man in the back talking about some, Why are men so obsessed with women accepting them at their most worst time? Like, I don't even feel comfortable as a woman allowing a man to accept me when I'm not at my best. Then when it comes to black people, and I do mean black people, we have this obsession with jumping from one extreme to the next. We don't know how to create a healthy outlook on life because we tend to fantasize the other side as if that would be magically better. We don't know how to take a healthy approach when it comes to life due to our trauma and us walking around unhealed. So example would be in this situation with this woman. She's fantasizing a broke man to treat her better because her relationship trauma is that she dated a man that was a millionaire and he treated her like trash. And so her trauma response is to automatically fantasize broke men. Instead of saying, you know what, I need to find a man that's financially stable, and I also need to ensure that he has a healthy mindset and he's mentally stable. Being financially stable is not up for debate. Every adult in 2022, modern times, needs to be financially stable. Because the number one cause or reason for divorce is finances. So it doesn't make sense to get into a union with another person and not have the basic foundation of stability like finances. It just does not make sense to me. It's also irresponsible as a woman to lay up with a man sexually knowing that he's broke, knowing that he cannot take care of you or that baby if potentially you get pregnant. I don't know when it became acceptable for women to lay up with broke men that are not financially stable because you're out here doing things that involve reproducing, which means that that man would need to produce in case there is a child that somehow gets involved. I've never met a man that was broke and happy. I've always met men that were broke and miserable because money made them happy, and nothing that I did was good enough because money made him happy. A lot of men tend to put their entire self-worth in their pockets.
I mean, I definitely agree with her. I wouldn't want a broke man. But money doesn't make everything. I mean, you can get a man with money and then he loses his job, and then what? I mean, nobody, man or woman, is happy to be broke. So I think the problem in this whole thing is that they're looking for someone to complete them and they're not already complete. Because if you were already secure in who you were, one, you would attract what you are. So if she's attracting people like that, I would think that she's attracting something in her that is saying treat me like crap because you have money. So clearly she must have went after men with money is kind of what I'm thinking, because I know for me, when I was dating, I didn't like, long as you had a car and a job, that was all that mattered for me. So the fact that she knew he was a millionaire, I'm like, how did you know that? Like, you know, were you gold digging or what? Or sometimes people do get intimidated by people with money, and was this guy braggadocious, like that, you know, attract him to you? Then he kind of probably knew that and felt like he could treat you as such, like nothing. Who knows? There's so many things behind that. But yes, I agree. I wouldn't want a broke man either. Women that are broke, they don't last well either in relationships. So yeah, don't be broke if you can help it. Let's play one more.
Question for the Christians, number 3. Here we go. If your God...
You don't have to say your God. It's just God.
All-knowing.
Uh-huh.
All-powerful.
Right again.
Omnipotent God.
We're 3 for 3.
Made all of us by his own hand. He created us exactly the way that we are. That's what you believe, right?
No. The problem is in your statement, exactly as we are, because that's not what scripture teaches at all. God has created man in his own image. But the problem is, through the rebellion in the garden in Genesis 3, sin entered the world through one man and death through sin. In this way, death spread to all people because all sinned. Therefore, we don't operate in the same way that God originally designed us to. Sin means to miss the mark. We were not created to lie, cheat, to steal, to murder. This is why James says, don't say that God tempts me, because each person is tempted when he is drawn away and enticed by his own evil desire. He goes on to say that every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. Did God make us? Did he knit us together in the womb? Yes. Did he create us in the way that we are in reference to our sinful nature? No.
If your God made me into the atheist that I am.
Actually, you made you into the atheist you are today, because even though you knew God, you didn't glorify him as God or show gratitude. Instead, your thinking became worthless and your senseless heart was darkened. Claiming to be wise, you became a fool. And it's the fool that says in his heart, there's no God. Again, we're circling back to the sinful heart of man.
He gave me the free will to believe or to disbelieve.
Okay, which is it? Did he make you into the atheist, or do you have the free will to be an atheist?
When you pray for me, asking God to save me, how is that not a contradiction of your own God's will to have created me exactly the way that I am?
It's not a contradiction, because your entire argument is a non sequitur. It doesn't even follow its own internal logic. At one point you're saying you have the free will to be an atheist, and at another point you're saying that God made you the atheist that you are. The will of God is something that the people of God discern by not being conformed to this age, but being transformed by the renewing of our mind. And it is something that even the believer on a day-to-day basis will choose whether or not to submit to it. This is why Paul says to offer up our bodies as living sacrifices. Because part of knowing the will of God and ultimately following the will of God is to pick up our cross and die daily. Again, circling back to the sinful desires of man. The thing is, the people who are praying for you to be enlightened and come into saving knowledge of Jesus Christ, their prayers are working. It is working in the fact that you are being faced with the truth and the knowledge of who Jesus Christ is. But you have chosen to reject it rather than to embrace it. So trust me, prayer works.
Very interesting conversation. I do believe God does exist. And I agree, like every day we do have to die to our flesh, because we are flesh, we are human, we do have desires and we make choices. So yeah, God definitely didn't create atheists. That is your choice. So yeah, he kind of debunked her whole argument on that. So this has been it, guys. Tomorrow, if something interesting happens, I will definitely bring you the news that you can use or lose. Atheist for Family is signing off. Toodles.